Hey hey hey, Assalamualaikum, selamat datang di Airin Official Channel. Kali ini aku mau ngajak teman-teman belajar bareng. Ini caranya aku kalau belajar dari YouTube, aku melihat dunia luar dari YouTube, karena sehari-harinya di rumah. Nah, aku tuh tertarik sama sebuah channel gitu ya. Ini tuh channelnya itu dibikin sama orang Amerika, sebenarnya namanya Ashley. Nah, dia tuh bikin tentang dokumenter Indonesia. Tapi pas aku lihat video-videonya itu sebenarnya datanya memang benar adanya dan lengkap gitu. Jadi aku tertarik banget untuk ngereaksi video ini dan belajar sama-sama yuk. Come on. Nah, ini dia channelnya Indonesia Dokumentari tuh. Sebenarnya dia ini orang Amerika. I am Ashley. My channel covers topic related to international affairs, Southeast Asia, and specific Indonesia. Indonesian studies in economics, social issues, politics, and global events. Remember to subscribe for updates. Oke, siap. Your support through subscription, likes, and comment on my video is appreciated tuh. Info selengkapnya, dia dari Amerika Serikat. Bergabung 6 Januari 2024 tentang how Indonesia take over Freeport. Nah, Freeportnya juga aku belum nonton selesai nih.
But since Suharto came to power, many contracts have brought...
Oke, kita ganti dulu bahasanya. Teks, pilih Indonesia.
Indonesia, a country rich in natural resources, but often seen as a passive player in the global economic arena.
Benar.
For years, the Freeport gold mine stood as a symbol of American dominance.
He's gonna be president, Mickey Mouse is gonna be king, yeah. Yeah!
Extracting immense wealth from Indonesian soil. But beneath the surface lay a simmering desire for change, a hunger for sovereignty and control over its own resources. Indonesia saw an opportunity to shift the balance of power and reclaim what rightfully belonged to its people. The incredible story about Indonesia's takeover of the world's largest gold mine, the Freeport gold mine, is a tale of strategy, negotiation, and seizing opportunities that changed the global landscape. Let's unravel how Indonesia made this historic move and reshaped its economic destiny.
Kualitas produk lokal boleh diadu,
Iklan.
beli lokal. Kualitas produk lokal boleh diadu, beli lokal.
Lewat.
The journey towards reclaiming the Freeport gold mine wasn't easy. It required meticulous planning, fierce negotiation, and unwavering determination. Indonesia's leaders navigated through complex diplomatic waters, leveraging their nation's strategic position and the undeniable value of the gold mine. Through relentless pursuit and strategic alliances, Indonesia gradually chipped away at American dominance, inching closer to reclaiming control over its most precious asset. And when the moment arrived, Indonesia seized it with both hands, marking a historic turning point in its economic independence. But before we continue, I need you to push the subscribe button first. Let's go to 10,000
Udah.
subscribers this month, and I will make an interesting
Okay.
video about the new Nusantara capital for you. Now, let's continue to the deeper talk.
Selamat datang di Tembagapura.
Anyone who first witnesses the Freeport project in Indonesian Papua would surely shake their head. The gigantic project of Freeport was created to move the contents of two mountains during the contract period for refining outside of Indonesia. As a result, Indonesia lose control over the byproduct minerals, and Freeport can obtain all of it for free. Consequently, the wealth of this country is depleted, while the United States enjoys the largest foreign exchange from the mines in Indonesia. Since the Cold War, the United States has continuously meddled in Indonesia to ensure that the wealth does not fall into other hands. Therefore, the United States always seeks to interfere in domestic politics in Indonesia to maintain control over Freeport.
Said every car tells a story, and this one recalls the day, the moment America lost a president.
The U.S. President John F. Kennedy was assassinated in Dallas during his campaign for the second presidential election on November 22, 1963. Indonesian President Sukarno, the third most respected figure by capitalists worldwide, was forced to resign on February 23, 1967, due to pressure from the takeover of leadership by Suharto with the assistance of the CIA. It turns out these two incidents between President Kennedy.
Bentar ya guys. Jadi memang ini tuh aku udah dengar, saya tuh udah dengar pokoknya selintingan-selintingan bahwa katanya gitu kan mantan Presiden Soeharto itu dia bergeraknya itu
are connected one another. Less than a month after Suharto was officially inaugurated by Temporary People's Consultative Assembly of Indonesia, or MPRS, he signed a highly disadvantageous mining contract for the Republic and the nation. While Sukarno demanded a more beneficial agreement for Indonesia, a 60% share for Indonesia, from the oil mining company Caltex, Suharto agreed to only 9.6% for copper. As for other minerals such as gold, silver, and two others, they were entirely free gift for the United States.
wow.
3 decades after Sukarno's downfall, Lisa Pease, a renowned writer, investigated the connection of these events. The results are summarized in her article, JFK, Sukarno, CIA, and Freeport. This article has become an important archive in the National Archive in Washington, D.C. It turns out that Freeport is the world's largest gold mine, not copper.
Wow, ternyata gitu. Udah ada arsipnya di sana.
The Freeport saga began in the mid-20th century when American geologists Jean-Jacques Dozy, together with Colline, embarked on an expedition to the summit of Mount Cartens on November 20, 1936. They collected rock samples, which Colline said contained gold and copper. Drawn by the promise of untold wealth, the Freeport-McMoran Corporation, backed by powerful interests, swiftly secured rights to exploit these precious resources. Thus, the stage was set for a contentious relationship between Indonesia and one of the world's largest mining conglomerates. Lisa Pease in her book writes that the top officials of Freeport turned out to have contacts with important figures within the elite circle of Indonesia. They were the Minister of Mining and Oil, Ibnu Sutowo, and Julius Tahija, a former KNIL or Dutch East Indies colonial military officer.
Ya, persoalannya adalah memang tergantung kepada bangsa dan rakyat Indonesia sendiri.
Suharto himself was a former sergeant of KNIL. Tahija acted as a liaison between Ibnu Sutowo and Freeport. Ibnu Sutowo himself held significant influence within the army, as he was the one who controlled all of their operational budgets. This is why, when Law No. 1 1967, concerning foreign investment, or PMA, whose draft was designed in Geneva, Switzerland, and dictated by Rockefeller, was enacted in 1967, the first foreign company to sign a contract with General Suharto was Freeport to mine gold in Papua. This was the first time a new mining contract was made. If during President Sukarno's era, contracts with foreign companies always benefited Indonesia, but since Suharto came to power, many contracts have brought losses to Indonesia. It was only in 1980 that Freeport teamed up with James Jim Bob Moffat's McMoran and became a global giant company with annual profits of more than $1.5 billion. In 1996, a Freeport McMoran executive, George A. Maley, wrote a 384-page book titled Grasberg, revealing that the gold mine in Indonesian Papua had the largest deposit in the world, while its copper ore ranked third largest. Maley wrote that the 1995 data showed reserves of copper ore worth $40.3 billion in this area, which would remain profitable for the next 45 years. Ironically, Mele proudly noted that the production costs of the world's largest gold and copper mine in Indonesian Papua were the lowest in the world.
Selamat datang di Tembagapura. Ini adalah kota di ketinggian 2000 mdpl.
So, the term Tembagapura, or Copper Mountain in
Bentar.
English, is
Jadi mereka bangga ya bahwa ternyata biaya produksi yang ada di Papua di Indonesia itu termurah di dunia. Oh my, OMG.
actually
Subhanallah.
misleading and incorrect. It should be Emaspura, or Gold Mountain, because the mountain is indeed a gold mountain, although it also contains copper, but gold is much more abundant. Suharto himself is actually tricked by the US. Before the signing of the agreement, during his visit to Timika in 1968, he named the city where the mining complex is located as Tembagapura City, because he himself didn't know that there was more gold than copper there.
Freeport diizinkan mengadakan pengoboran percobaan. Endapan biji diperkirakan 33 juta ton. Freeport memutuskan melaksanakan pengelolaan proyek raksasa ini. Direncanakan untuk membangun 6 wilayah kerja.
Freeport is absolutely unwilling to lose its gold, not even a little single gram. That's why Freeport has built massive and sturdy pipes from Grasberg to
Gila.
Tembagapura, spanning 100 kilometers directly to the Arafura Sea, where large ships await to transport the gold and
Gila.
copper to the United States and become the world's biggest robbery that has been done by America.
Untuk menghubungi semua tempat, dibangun sebuah jalan yang 99 km panjangnya, melalui hutan di tanah datar sampai ke daerah puncak gunung. Bagian terakhir dari tempat pengolahan ke tambang berupa kereta gantung. Kita tak tahu apabila dataran tinggi Irian Jaya mulai dihuni. Mungkin 20.000, mungkin 30.000 tahun yang lalu.
The activities in Freeport that disregard the traditional rights of the Amungma tribe constitute a serious violation of human rights with violence. In 1971, they were relocated to valleys without respecting their rights to ancestral land and the forests that provide hunting grounds for the tribe. Sukarno once said, "Let the wealth be embedded in the belly of Mother Earth until her children are capable of mining it themselves." And also, in his writing long before independence of Indonesia, Sukarno warned his people that capitalists would come back to this country in various ways to drain the wealth of this nation. That's why more than 5,000 young people were sent to study abroad, including former President of Indonesia, B.J. Habibie.
L'avenir de mon pays, oui, Monsieur le Président, brillant, parce que mon pays est très riche. Mon pays est situé très stratégique. Oui.
The environmental impact of the Freeport gold mine has been devastating, leaving a trail of destruction in its wake. The extraction of gold and copper has led to widespread deforestation, as vast tracts of pristine rainforest are cleared to make way for mining operations. The pollution of rivers and waterways with toxic chemicals, such as mercury and cyanide, has poisoned aquatic ecosystems and threatened the health and livelihoods of local communities who depend on these resources for their survival. The Ministry of Environment and Forestry has uncovered at least 47 violations. Ecosystems ranging from rivers, mangrove forest areas, to the sea have been affected by mining waste. This pollution originates from the waste sand reservoirs of the mining, or often known as the Modified Ajwa Deposition Area, or MODADA. This method is considered harmful to the environment. The Ministry of Environment and Forestry of Indonesia imposed sanctions on Freeport. The sanctions require Freeport to rehabilitate the environment and monitor mining waste. Otherwise, the ministry threatens to freeze Freeport's operations until the environmental damage is addressed. In addition to environmental issues, another violation committed by Freeport is human rights abuses. One of the most well-known human rights violations committed by Freeport is the collapse of the Big Gasan Tunnel in 2013. The mining accident that killed 28 Freeport workers is considered a violation of human rights because Freeport did not pay attention to the working conditions as part of the workers' right to life. This violation certainly needs to be followed up firmly to prevent any future negligence that could cost workers their lives.
Kadang-kadang kita terbayang-bayang oleh ketakutan kita sendiri. Dulu waktu kita mau ambil Freeport kembali mayoritas, informasi yang saya terima memang semuanya menakutkan. Menakutkan semuanya. Nanti Papua akan goncang, Papua akan lepas. Amerika akan marah. Sampai 3 tahun kita kerja ini. Dan menterinya maju mundur, maju saya gitu kan. Jangan maju mundur, maju.
Bravo.
Indonesia's long journey to reclaim Freeport has finally come. After 51 years of being a mere spectator, Indonesia now holds the majority shares in the largest gold mine in the land of Papua. This is a big leap. We hope that later, we will receive a larger income from taxes, royalties, and retribution dividends, said Joko Widodo in an interview in BSD on July 12, 2018.
Dieksplorasi sampai sekarang masih di geoengineering.
Under President Joko Widodo's leadership, Indonesia embarked on a transformative journey to take over the Freeport gold mine, a task that had lingered unresolved for years. Before Jokowi's era, Indonesia had struggled to assert control over the gold mine, which had been under the purview of foreign interests, primarily Freeport-McMoRan, an American mining conglomerate.
McMoRan Incorporation bahkan mengungkapkan akan menempuh jalur peradilan internasional atau arbitrase.
Issued a decree to do that. We advised the government that we could not accept the IUPK with the condition that we forfeit our cap. And it began a period of time that can run as much as 120 days for Freeport and the government to try to resolve that dispute. At the end of that period, if this dispute is not resolved, then Freeport has reserved the right at that time to commence arbitration.
Previous administrations faced challenges in renegotiating contracts and reclaiming sovereignty over the mine.
Kewenangan perpanjangan kontrak Freeport ada pada pemerintahan berikutnya. Pemerintahan SBY saat ini hanya renegosiasi kontrak saja.
But Jokowi brought a fresh approach and determination to the table.
You got a beautiful day.
Yeah, that's great.
Jokowi's administration recognized the importance of reclaiming Indonesia's natural resources for the benefit of its people. With a vision of economic empowerment and equitable development, Jokowi prioritized negotiations with Freeport-McMoRan to secure a more favorable agreement for Indonesia. Through skilled diplomacy and strategic maneuvering, Indonesia gradually gained leverage in the negotiations, signaling a new era of assertiveness and sovereignty over its resources.
Untuk Indonesia dari negara Amerika Serikat juga, ya, dan salah satunya tentu Freeport yang kebetulan kita BUMN sudah menguasai 51%. Dan ini
President Jokowi said in an interview, "I am very happy that I just came to Gresberg and Freeport. 98% of the workers are Indonesian citizens. 41% are the native Papuan people. This is good for Papua."
Sekarang ini ada 41% karyawan Papua. Dan ada 1 orang direktur, anggota direksi anak Papua dengan 9 vice president dan ada 45 manajer anak Papua. Jadi memang program-program pelatihan pendidikan juga terus ditingkatkan supaya jumlahnya bisa lebih banyak lagi.
In the Jokowi era, Papua experienced a surge in infrastructure development. Indonesian People's Representative Council member Guspardi Gaus revealed that at least more than 1,000 trillion rupiahs, or $64 billion in various sources of funds, have been dispersed by the government since Papua holds special autonomy status, transforming the landscape and improving the quality of life for local communities. Roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, and other critical infrastructure projects were implemented to connect remote areas, enhance access to essential services, and spur economic growth.
Kita ini berada di ruas jalur Wamena sampai ke Kenya dan Agats sepanjang 287 km dan jalan Trans Papua menjadi sebuah gambaran komitmen pemerintah terhadap pembangunan infrastruktur. Betapa sangat sulit medan yang ada di sini. Sangat berat. Membelah belantara, naik gunung yang sangat tinggi. Inilah medan berat yang dialami baik oleh Kementerian PU maupun oleh TNI yang bersama-sama membangun jalan di Trans Papua.
The investments made in Papua reflected Jokowi's commitment to inclusive development and bridging the gap between the eastern and western regions of Indonesia. In conclusion, under President Joko Widodo's leadership, Indonesia successfully took over the Freeport gold mine and embarked on a transformative journey to develop Papua. Through massive infrastructure projects and special attention programs, the Jokowi administration addressed long-standing disparities and empowered local communities to participate in the nation's progress. The impact of these efforts reverberated across Indonesian Papua, ushering in a new era of development, opportunity, and inclusion.
Oke, mungkin aku mau komentar sedikit kali ya. Mungkin ini juga alasannya Pak Jokowi itu kan udah semenjak dari tahun 2020 itu kan memang rencananya Indonesia mau berhentiin ekspor sumber daya alamnya, ya itu termasuk nikel, bauksit, timah, ada emas juga gitu kan. Nah mungkin ya tujuannya itu ya untuk mengembalikan biar nilai tambahnya itu ada untuk bangsa Indonesia sendiri gitu loh, bukan dinikmati sama negara-negara lain. Nah, dan jujur aja ya ini saya baru sekarang gitu ngerasa terharu kok baru satu-satunya kayaknya presiden yang berani untuk melakukan langkah ini gitu. Jadi bravo, happy banget buat Indonesia, seneng banget buat Indonesia. Mudah-mudahan Indonesia dilancarkan jalannya ke depan dan jadi semakin maju ya guys. Kita doain sama-sama karena nantinya juga kita juga yang akan ngerasain semuanya.